Disclaimer, Joce, Jules, and Nevermore are not professional therapists. They will be sharing their personal experiences and advice, but this is in no way a substitute for professional help. There is also a good chance of swearing, tears, and triggering conversations, so listener discretion is advised. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Slaying Demons, a podcast about facing your fears in life and being the best version of yourself. I'm your host, Jocelyn, and joining me, as always, are my two lovely ladies, Jules and Nevermore. Hello, ladies.
Hi, Joce. Hi, Jules. Yay, we're back.
We are back. So we've had kind of an extended time away from Slaying Demons, unfortunately. We've been doing a lot of streaming on Tuesdays, and that was mostly because we had a lot of crazy heavy shit happen from kind of our last episode through Christmas and up until now. So needed a little bit of wind down time and girl time that wasn't necessarily get in on the podcast and spew out all our feelings, because a lot of us had way too many feelings. So now I think we're in a little bit of a better headspace, and we're going to tell you guys everything that happened to us over the last 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah, I think it's been 6 weeks.
Yeah. I think it was kind of the beginning of maybe the second week of December was the last time we actually recorded a podcast proper. So thank you guys so much for sticking with us. There were, I think, even I don't even think the last episode is up on YouTube, because XSplit was doing some really weird stuff. I've switched over to OBS completely now. But the entire video for the last episode that we recorded was gray. So it's you could see us moving, and there would be big blocks of gray pixels that would move when we moved. But the whole rest of the video was just gray. It was freaking weird. So
that's creepy.
Yeah. Anyways, so it wasn't even a little bit salvageable. It wasn't even I could pick out our faces from the just gray rectangle. So anyways, if you're looking for this on YouTube, that's why the most recent episode wasn't up there. But today's episode will go up. The last episode is up on the iTunes feed. So now we're back, and I'm excited to be back. So I don't really know where to start. I mean, who wants to go first? Because there's just a lot of stuff that happened. A lot of stuff is going on.
You have the best news ever.
I was going to say, we need to start with Jocelyn, because she's been, every time we're should we do a show? We're all just kind of life is so blah right now. And then I'm just but we need Jocelyn to, share. I'm excited. Just a little excited.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so I wrote my news in the spreadsheet. If anyone's been following me on Twitter, then you guys probably already know, but Matt and I got engaged on Christmas Day.
In their new house.
Yes, in our new house. And so I wrote "got engaged" as my update for this week, and I came back into the doc right before the show, and Nevermore had made it font size 72 and bold and purple.
I did.
I was all right.
Incredible.
So she's excited.
Incredible.
I'm excited. I love you. I love Matt. This is awesome.
Good. I'm glad, because I'm not gonna lie, and it's funny because I actually had one of my oldest friends, Carrie. I met her in high school, and I had her over the weekend, and we had kind of a sit down gab session, drink some wine, catch up girl night, and she kind of had the reaction that I was afraid that you, Nevermore, were gonna have, where I'm really excited for you, but I'm really sad for me, and then that makes me just sad in general. And I'm I don't want to make anybody sad.
I am not sad for you. I'm very excited for you.
I know. It's just there's like I said, there's been so much going on, and there's everyone else has so much more on their plate, and I don't know why. I was very happy and excited, but we also tried to tell, because it happened on Christmas Day, we decided that we weren't going to actually call anybody. We were going to go around, because we were seeing all the members of our family. We were going and spending time with friends. So we kind of took the week after Christmas to go and tell everybody in person. So we'd tell somebody, be but don't say anything. Tell someone and don't say anything. So I was excited and happy, but it was such a slow burn that then when I did tell people, I was okay, this happened, don't be mad, which is such a weird thing. Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I was too worried about other people's reactions, thoughts. I don't know. But yeah, it was a weird time.
And I think the hardest part about that is, you're thinking about everybody else's feelings, but I really truly believe that true friends will absolutely have your best interests at heart when that comes to it, knowing that this makes you so happy that, yeah, I mean, if there's any kind of conflict, like, oh, I've been waiting for my boyfriend, fiance, or my boyfriend to propose, forever, that goes aside because freaking yay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I know that's a concern for other people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, and I totally get it. I mean, we had the conversation right here on Slaying Demons, like probably 10 or 12 episodes ago, basically just saying, like, it's so hard in the era of Pinterest and Facebook and Twitter and everything else that it just, like, it feels like everyone is lapping you in so many ways, like, and I don't ever want to make my friends feel like how I was feeling very recently, like, so I just, like, as happy as I was, I guess, because of everything that I've been through and how I had been feeling, I was, like, hyper aware of how, like, telling people I was engaged could make them feel. I was just like,
yeah,
this is my news. Okay, bye. Like, I need to tell everybody, but I can't, like, yeah, like, I was like, I need to tell everybody, but I can't, like, I don't want to rub it in anyone's face, but also, like, I'm excited, and, yeah, it was weird. It was weird.
You should totally be excited.
I know.
Don't worry about other people.
So, like, tell people what you can tell them about, like, how it happened and what your plans are and all that stuff. Be excited, for God's sake.
Can I? Okay.
I know, I was like, could you give us more information, please? Jesus.
I can if you really want it.
Do it, please. Like, the entire audience is going, Jocelyn, God damn it, just tell us.
So, because obviously everybody knows, Matt and I bought a house this year. So we had made the decision that we were not going to get presents for each other for Christmas. So about not even, because it was really coming down to the wire. It was probably about 2 weeks before Christmas. And Matt said, "You're not allowed to look in the trunk of the car." And I was like, do you have a body in the trunk of the car? Like, why can I not look in the trunk of the car?
And he's my kind of guy.
And he's just like, well, you just can't because Christmas reasons. And I was like, you're in so much trouble. And then so probably like 4 or 5 days after that, I went to go get my hair done. And I came home from getting my hair done, and Matt was like, okay, so your Christmas present is in the kitchen. And I was like, okay. So I went into the kitchen, and while I was out, he'd installed a new faucet in our kitchen, which I actually really wanted. And I was really excited about because the old one was busted and crappy. And I was like, oh, good. And I was like, so this is what was in the trunk. And he was like, yep. I was like, good. So I was like, okay, that's it's like a thing for the kitchen. It's a thing for the house. So it's not like I can't be mad. It's a thing for both of us. So anyways, Christmas morning rolls around, and there's a present under the tree, and not a small present, a really freaking big present. So I came downstairs, and we had like the Christmas tree next to the fireplace, and he had lit a fire and everything else. It was so festive and awesome. And like our stockings are all full of stuff because, Santa came, obviously. And so, yeah, there's this big, huge present under the tree. And I'm like, Matt, I know that I didn't put that there. Like, you're in so much trouble. It was big and it was heavy. And he was like, just open it. Just do it. I did just whatever. So I opened it, and it was a new KitchenAid mixer, which I've wanted for freaking ever too. But I was like, I'm getting like more and more mad because I was like, we're supposed to have no presents, and then there was the faucet, and then there's the mixer. Like, what are you doing? And he's like, well, this is like a present for me because with this you're gonna make me cupcakes. So he's like, I'm seeing this as like an investment into my infinite supply of cupcakes. I was like, your logic is flawed, mister. So anyways, he's like, okay, well, there's one more present under the tree. And I was like, okay, I don't know how much more trouble you can get into, but you're already in a lot of trouble. Like, are you sure you want to do this? And so he gave me this little box, and I opened it, and it was a jewelry box. And then so I opened it all the way, and it was actually these earrings. And I was just, so I opened the box, and I was like, just turned to him, and I was like, halfway through saying, "You are in so much fucking trouble." And then he's like, "Well, you need something to match this ring." Oh. And I was like, "Oh, okay, you're forgiven."
He planned that exactly how you would react to all of it.
Right? Like, how well does he know
this.
me?
That is amazing.
So that's our engagement story.
Yay.
But yeah, unfortunately, the ring that he got me, so I'm just wearing the ring I normally wear on my left hand right now instead of my right hand, because the ring that he actually got me doesn't have a matching wedding band. So he kind of like, he got it, and it was like right before Christmas when it came, and then so he didn't have time to like swap it for anything. So he kind of like showed me and gave it to me, and he's like, "But this isn't the wrong, like, he's like, this isn't good. I'm gonna get you another one." I was like, okay. So the whole time for Christmas, like, we went on the site and we picked out another ring. The ring is coming. I returned the original engagement ring, and so the whole time at Christmas, there was like a little like tag on it that was like, you know, those things that they put on like your computer and stuff, so that if you open it, you void the warranty. Like, it's got the shiny stuff that when you peel it away, it like leaves the words behind or whatever. So it had a tag like that on it. So I was like wearing the ring because I wanted to wear the ring. I was excited. I was wearing the ring all through Christmas with this like giant like price tag looking thing on it. And I would like, I had the jewelry box in my purse, and I was like putting it on right before we'd go into the house to tell somebody new, and then I'd be like taking it off, and then everyone was like, "Oh, let me see the ring again," and they're like, "Wait, why aren't you wearing the ring?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, so here's the price tag story." Yeah, so
Chad is asking though, did he actually get his cupcakes? They need to know.
They're very worried. They're very, very worried.
So this kind of leads into, I guess, my second piece of kind of update news thing. We actually started the keto diet, so no, Matt has not gotten any cupcakes. I did, however, make him keto brownies, so he has gotten some sweets, air quotes, sweets out of the mixer.
Okay, well that's fair. But so talk about your keto experience. What's that been like for you?
It wasn't necessarily as bad as I thought it was going to be on an ongoing basis, but I definitely had a couple of days where I felt like I had the flu and was also hungover. It was like, there was one day I had a migraine, and one day I felt just like gross, like just totally and utterly gross. But since then, the biggest thing I've noticed is my energy level. It's like, no matter how much caffeine I drink throughout the day, like I've pretty much been drinking about the same amount as I was before. Did we lose Nevermore?
Yeah,
No,
I think
I'm
we
here.
did. She's
okay.
coming back.
But yeah, so I'm drinking about the same amount of caffeine as I had been, but my energy level throughout the day is very much like steady. So like, I always assumed that like my ups and downs were based on just the amount of caffeine I would drink. So I would be like, wake up in the morning, really, really low energy, and then I'd drink a coffee and I'd go really, really high energy, and then it'd kind of like fade away, and so I'd have another one. And I always thought that was caffeine fluctuations. And then I cut out sugar. I'm still drinking all my caffeine, and it's just like, bam, same all day. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a huge like change in how your body is just processing stuff too.
Yeah, and so I think we started about 2 weeks ago now, and I've noticed like two things, like the energy level, but also, holy hell, eating healthy is so freaking expensive. Like, it's so much money. I couldn't believe it. It's like, trying to get like, because I mentioned I made brownies, so we got like coconut flour instead of regular flour, and it was literally like 4 times the price. And a bag of the like sugar replacement that I use in baking was like $12 for like a third of a pound versus the 2-pound bag of sugar for $3. Like, it's just, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. And then even like, okay, pizza sauce. There was 3 different types of pizza sauce because I figured out a way to make pizza. So there's 3 different types of pizza sauce that I can use, 2 of which are ridiculously high in sugar and were like 99 cents. And the other one had no sugar and it was like $4. And I was like, oh my God, like it's absolutely insane. So like, I don't know, from a like pure diet perspective, we're not having any problems. Like, I'm not hungry. I don't eat nearly as much. Like, I'm having trouble actually hitting like my calorie counts for the day because I'm just not hungry. Like, it fills me up. So, I don't know, like from a diet perspective, it hasn't been all that difficult, but from a budget perspective, I don't actually know how like affordable it's going to be long term, like how long I'm actually going to be able to keep this up, just because I'm like, we're spending like way more money now than we did even when we were eating out or ordering in all the time. Like, I cannot believe the amount of money.
It's ridiculous. And, you know, I've felt it too with changing my diet and buying whole foods and things that are, you know, I mean, just, you know, meats and vegetables. It's just so
meat
expensive.
And cheese is so expensive. And that's like meat and cheese and eggs is very much like the kind of staples of this diet, like along with like broccoli and cauliflower and asparagus. Like, but man, like,
yeah, you have to. I mean, the things that I've learned is that you've got to buy things in season if you can. For veggies, especially, look for the sales at the grocery store for the meat, and if you've gotten it, buy it and like buy extra and then freeze it.
Freeze
it.
Yeah, freeze it. Because that is just, it's tough. I mean, my grocery bill almost doubled when I was going after changing that. So I feel your pain. It's hard.
Yep.
And but is it something that you feel like has really done good things for you overall?
Well, I'm down 5 pounds in 2 weeks. And
great.
I feel like, so I've kind of hit a little bit of a plateau, I guess, in the last like few days, because I saw like a fairly consistent drop. Like, it wasn't like I was up here and then I went 5 and then I'm now going back up. It's like it just kind of incrementally lower, but it hasn't dropped in a couple of days. But what I have noticed is like my clothes are loosening, if that makes sense. So it's like my number might not be changing, but like I couldn't keep my pants up today. I had to go in a belt loop. So
Matt.
I feel like I feel like I'm less bloated, I'm less hungry, and I haven't had any heartburn or any gallbladder problems.
I was just going to ask you if you noticed if it's affected that.
Because that was like my biggest concern, is like a big change in my diet, how that was going to affect me. And like, I feel 1,000 times better than I did.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So.
So big changes for Jocelyn. I love it.
Yeah, really big changes. Yeah, it was kind of a crazy Christmas, but good overall. I mean, everything's been great, which makes me feel horrible because things have not necessarily been great in the world of the Jules and the Nevermore. So, who would like to go first?
It comes in cycles, you know, and that's the thing. I mean, Nevermore, feel free. No, you're good. Okay, you're gonna put me on the spot on this one. Okay, you know, I think it was good that we started off with some happy news for Jocelyn, because it's been a little bit hard. It's even hard to talk about right now.
I know, honey.
Yeah. So, I lost my kitty, which was kind of known. Like, you guys, we had talked about it on the show, that I was seeing that coming down the road. And
yeah, I think the last time we talked.
You know, yeah. So 6 weeks ago, I had to make the call to put him to sleep. And what it did is it just kind of spiraled into something really tough. for me, like, because the holidays suck anyway for me, and this didn't help. And I actually wound up hitting one of the lowest depressions that I've ever really experienced in my life. And I've had definitely a bunch of hits in my life. And this kind of just, hit me to the point where I couldn't even do my job. I couldn't come on a podcast and, certainly not this one.
Yeah.
And try to talk about, how life is improving or working on things when I could barely even keep my head up. And it was really, really fucking hard. And one of the things that I had to do is I had to admit that. I had to say, life is really not it's not good right now. And I'm struggling, and I need to admit that I'm struggling. And what that did was it actually turned everything around. I was due to do a Tauren Think Tank episode, and we had some tough topics to talk about, and I just literally couldn't do it. I didn't have the energy or the mindset. And I went to Twitter and I just admitted that I'm struggling and I'm sorry, and I'm going to work on this and I'm going to make it better. And the outpouring of support and relating to that, and people calling me brave, which I didn't feel at all. It actually helped a ton because I admitted that I had a problem, and it was so painful to do that because, I'm supposed to be that one person who's supposed to be there for everybody else. And, I just couldn't keep my shit together anymore. And I had to admit that.
And it turns out everyone that you've been there for in the last 5 to 6 years was like, holy hell, pile on, be there for Jules. It was awesome,
incredible.
To see.
I mean, I cried so much happy tears as much as the sad tears. And I'll tell this to anybody who has to deal with any type of loss, major change, life just kind of throws a bunch of shit in their face, and sometimes you just have to feel it. And that's what I was not doing. Is I was, Spike died, and I kind of just muscled up and said, let's go back to work and just try to get through it. And I threw myself into work, and I ran from it instead of dealing with it. And it bit me hard, and it bit me fast. And it was like, I had to deal with it. I had to feel it. And so I have a dear friend who has been on my show in the past. She's a psychologist, Dr. Holiday Bean. And she's pretty incredible. And she just said to me, Jules, you just have to feel the emotions. And if it sucks, it sucks. And if you cry, you cry. And if you're mad, you're mad. And if you feel like you want to scream, then scream, do it all, but feel it. And that's what I did. And it helped. And so I came out of it knowing, I slowly kind of crawled my way back out of it. As the holidays went through, and I just I know that life is going to throw me a bunch of shit, and it keeps happening. Life is just going to throw me curveballs. And, every single time that happens, I'm stronger for it. I'm stronger than I was the last time that curveball came at my face. And I'm I would never wish that kind of feeling on anybody, but I came back out of this, and I still have my moments. The other day I was just kind of hit with this wave of grief that just came out of nowhere. And it's just it's been 6 weeks, but
that's nothing, honey. That's nothing.
I know. It came out of nowhere. And, you lose something really close to you, and it's very difficult to process that sometimes, but life has been moving forward. And so that was the tough stuff. And out of all of that, I was still still fighting for what I wanted. One of the things I've always wanted to do is I've always wanted to be an analyst and kind of a commentator for esports, and specifically the Heroes Global Championship League. And by a shift of fate, I was given a shot at it, and I did it, and I got a lot of great feedback about it. And so I did it again. I was offered a chance to do it again, and I did it again. And I have now gotten the opportunity to do this on a pretty regular basis for 2 shows now.
Yeah,
which is incredible to me.
That kind of came all at once, I guess, because
Yes.
like so the shows you're talking about, I know we're doing the same one because I'm doing what you're doing, but for Hearthstone, and
Right.
that's for BattleNet Sports, which is put on by Convert to Raid. But what's the other one? Because I know, but I can't remember the name of it.
It's Nerf This, which
Right.
is the esports podcast run by Turner's E-League. So they're covering all Blizzard esports and like CS:GO and Paladins and, you know, different games as well as Blizzard. And I have now become their official HGC correspondent for the team, which is incredible. Like that's so
awesome,
cool.
Jules.
I mean, Jocelyn and I this week we did BattleNet Sports. We just came out this morning or this afternoon, and every commentator on that show was female.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Incredible. It's incredible.
Except for
and
Pat.
I'm so well, you know,
well, yeah,
Pat's
he's
the
host.
host.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's the host, but every commentator
Yeah.
who was there to talk about specialties, you know, knowledge about their sport was female. And I'm so damn proud of that. I'm so proud to be a part of that. I'm so proud that Jocelyn and I are doing that in the same group. And like, that's incredible. So cool. And so like, that's a huge win. That was a major win for me. I'm so proud of that. And so, you know, it pushes me to keep working harder and work forward. And when that sadness hits, it's not as hard anymore.
That's good.
You know? So, yeah, you know, back into working again, you know, working really hard. And you know, life is not easy, but it's worth the fight, guys. It's totally worth the fight. So that's my basis of my update. Sorry if I made everybody cry, but it's, you know, it was really, I know this is going to be hard for Nevermore too.
Yeah.
Because this show is raw and real. And it was even too raw and real for me to face in the weeks prior.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And I said off the top of the show, like, you guys went through some really, really, really shitty times, and it's okay to not be able to actually talk about it. I mean, just we've also talked on this show before about how it's so much easier sometimes to put things in writing. So Jules, like you did with your tweet, like, you can't come on the show, you can't come on Tauren Think Tank, you can't come on Slaying Demons, and you can't get the words out, but that doesn't mean that the words aren't there. So sometimes that written communication is just the little kind of bump that you need. And I don't think that there is anyone currently listening to the sound of my voice who is going to hold that against you in any way, shape, or form. So
no, the hardest part about it is that I felt like a failure. I felt like I couldn't handle it, and I should have been able to handle it, you know?
I just want to hug you so bad right now because, like, you are one of the hardest working people that I know. Like, the fact that you even wanted to still keep working, like, you didn't take a break, you didn't do anything, you just, like, were like, okay, well, this really bad, really shitty, heartbreaking, rip my heart out thing is happening to me. Guess it's work time. Like, do you know who does that? Nobody does that, Jules. Nobody does that except apparently you.
Apparently me. Yeah.
So
it's how I cope with stuff sometimes too, which is not a really healthy way to do it, you know, and I get that. And it didn't work this time, like trying to get past it and working through it. Just, it didn't, I had to actually do the work on myself.
Yeah.
Which is really, really tough.
Yeah. The emotional work, not the podcast work.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's still, you know, I'm a work in progress. I still have moments where that darkness kind of wants to creep back in, and you know, I'm a little bit better now to look at it and say, I can do this. You know, I can do, or if you need you need me to deal with you right now. All right, I'll deal with you this evening or like whatever. I'll make time now instead of not making that time.
And
yeah.
Battle Panda in the chat room is saying it's how he copes as well, and I know it's how I cope with a lot of things too, is like when you just can't deal with the things that your brain is thinking, then you throw yourself into some sort of distracting task. So, you know, like for a lot of us, it is work. It's a coping mechanism, and for others, it could be like music or movies or TV or whatever, like anything that you can do, video games too, obviously. Anything that you can kind of do to distract yourself and stop thinking about the thing that's bothering you and that you can't emotionally deal with. So, you know, like that's going in and playing a video game for, you know, hours and hours and hours on end to escape from what's going on sometimes helps, but often it's the same as, you know, work or everything else. Like, if you don't deal with your feelings, that's going to cause a problem down the road, and you're going to get overwhelmed and you're going to break down. And that's, I think, what ended up happening, unfortunately. But
yeah, I busted out. Like, I totally busted out. And, you know, I mean, people do this all the time. It could be drinking. It could be drugs. It could be overeating. It could be
that's me. I drink my feelings.
yeah
100%.
And you know when you do it, it's not the healthy thing to be doing, but you're like, you know, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it anyway because it's gonna
but then
help
I
me
get all numb and then it's awesome. In the short term.
In the short term. And you know, that is something that, I mean, I had a pretty stressful weekend, like, you know, just kind of this out of the blue news hit me. And for the first time ever, I just wanted to drink just to get rid of the anxiety for just a little bit. And I don't normally do that. And so I did. And then I'm like, nah, I'm okay. I'm good. You know, which is good. I'm like, okay, good. You're healthy dealing with this. That's good. Drinking yourself into a stupor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, guys, it's, you know, I feel for everybody out there who is dealing with stuff, and I needed to walk the walk. You know, I sit at my podcast and I talk about needing to take time for you and be there for yourself and self-care, and I wasn't doing it. And so I did, and it was a good thing.
Good.
Yes. So, what do you think, Nevermore? Are you prepped?
You've been very quiet. Yeah. Are you?
I'm always usually quiet though. I'm like listening to what you guys say.
I know this is probably one of the hardest things you're ever going to talk about. So if you need help, we're here.
I don't know how to start it. I don't know. Jules is making me cry already.
I know.
I was like, good until Jules went.
I know.
I don't even know what to say.
Do you want us to ask you questions? Does that help?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. So you had an experience dealing with grief as I did, but you lost someone pretty special in your life.
So, okay. It's hard to explain, like, the relation. Like, to me, she's like a grandma, but she's not technically my grandma. She's my cousin's grandma.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
It doesn't matter. It was someone that was super close to you.
So she passed away, like, on the 21st of December, so, like, right before Christmas. We knew it was gonna happen, obviously. Like, she's older.
How old was she?
Oh God, I don't know, like, exact numbers. Like, I think 80 something.
Oh.
So anyway, we really noticed her go downhill in around October when my cousin got married. We went to Sedona. And we went up there for her wedding, and like she's just like skin and bones, and like still trying to like get up and walk, and she has like Parkinson's. We call her Mama. That's just what we've always called her instead of like grandma or anything like that. So seeing her, like, they took a picture of like all 17 of the cousins from that side. So like not me and my twin sister, but the cousins from that side of the family, because it was the first time in however many years they'd all been together. And she's just this little teeny tiny thing like in the front. So it was really hard to kind of see her like that. And what kind of like pushed me like over the edge, like seeing her, like, you guys know, like I've struggled with the idea of death and everybody dies, and like I get that, like I understand that everybody does it. Not everybody thinks about it all the time like I do. So this was kind of hard to like see happening for the first time since like I've kind of come to that realization in the past couple of years that like death is on my mind all the time. Sorry guys, this is gonna be like super downer for a little while.
It's okay. Take your time.
So at the wedding, like our family was in our little hotel room or whatever. We were, talking about stuff, and like she has like 5 kids, and only really like one of the 5 kids, my one aunt, she lived with her. Like none of the others like helped or were near her or anything, like she had to have one of our really close family friends show up to help get Mama dressed for the wedding, because the people who were supposed to do it like bailed on her, and none of her other kids would come help, So it's like,
unfortunately, that happens quite often.
And it continued throughout this whole like of her kind of getting worse.
Yeah.
But like my mom is a strong woman who, she's a nurse. She works like 13 something hour shifts. She'll stay up the day if we need something to happen, like we've just always known her as this very strong, independent, like she doesn't need anybody, like that kind of a character. Like she was losing it at the wedding, because seeing Mama so frail, like, and as a nurse, like she's gonna die. Like she's like looking at her, like seeing how small she is, and like I think she was just like really torn of like the happiness of the day, and then also seeing that. But like I've never seen my mom like react like that, you know what I mean? So like I'm sitting there like trying to like comfort her, and at the same time like freaking out in my own head, because I'm like, I've never seen you like this, so you're freaking me out now, And she's like, make sure you go over and, you say you're, like, see her and say hi and basically, like, kind of goodbyes or whatever, and just in case, because nobody knew how she was doing, So seeing my mom like that, and, like, she finally, like, confided in Ben and I, like, how she was feeling and stuff, but it just freaked me out, like, even more, kind of, about it.
Well, yeah, because you're dealing with your pain, your fear, and your grief, as well as all of your mom's pain and fear and grief that you're not used to seeing, right?
Yeah.
So it's a
and it's not like
double
she was
shock
like
to the
forcing
system.
it on me or anything.
No,
you know what I mean?
no,
Like,
no.
but she was finally hitting her limits of like she couldn't keep it in anymore, and like she like attributed part of it a little bit to the drinking, at the wedding. Not like she was having a lot, but just the fact that she was opening up about it,
Yeah.
So
that's hard to digest. Like, you don't see your mom in that light, and that is like the place, in a public place, that is hard to process.
Yeah. And it just, it kind of scared me. She's like, and it's at like some resort thing where, everybody's nearby and where we're staying, and she's like, you guys go, she's telling me and Ben to go. My sister had already left. So like I went and like hugged my uncle, and I was like, you need to keep an eye on my mom. She's like losing it, So anyway, fast forward time of like, seeing her there, and like I had gone over and hugged her and, talked to her a little bit, but because she had Parkinson's, like it was hard a little bit to like understand like what she was saying and stuff. And but I went and talked to her there or whatever. So fast forward to closer to Christmas, she's obviously not doing very well. She had fallen and she hurt her hip, so she was in the hospital. And like actually she went to the hospital my mom works at, which it's near where they live or whatever. But so my mom was her nurse for that, because her above people were like, it's not really a conflict of interest, but are you okay? Because it happened on the night she was there and everything. So it wasn't like she went and requested her. It's just she was there when she needed her to be there, kind of. Yeah. So it was like good. And I was a little worried about her, but again, she's strong and was able to like, she knew that it was meant to be that she was supposed to help her and take care of her or whatever. Right. So anyway, after that, she went into the little like rehab place near the hospital, or you're supposed to like recover from surgeries and stuff like that. But she was just kind of frail and whatever. And she kind of started to look more like herself, where like at the wedding, like she was really skin and bones and like didn't look like the same person. But because when they got her there and she was getting like, probably fluids and stuff, she like filled in her face a little bit. Mm-hmm. So she looked more like what my memory of her is,
Yeah.
So we went, my sister and my mom and people had gone to go see her. I hadn't seen her yet, but I had left work one day early because I had to take Izzy to the vet, one of our cats, to look at, she has like mouth sore stuff. So I had to take her to the vet, which is like literally by my mom's house, like right around the corner. Took her to the vet, was saying goodbye to my mom. And then as I was kind of backing out, my mom had left already, and I get like multiple messages on my phone. She has like an old non-iPhone, so it like sends them really weird. Well, it said something about like Becky was gone. She wasn't at the rehab center, which is my aunt, and she's they had called her saying that Mama was like unresponsive, and this is like the middle of the day. So something about her going there, but then it like stopped at and like I was like waiting for like a message to come through, and I'm like waiting, and I'm like, oh my god, it's like she lives around the corner, like just drive over there, like what are you doing? So like got in my car, went over there. My mom wasn't home yet, like I think she had gone to run an errand or whatever, but I called her and we met back over there. And it was just basically like she was unresponsive, but when Becky walked in, she's like, hey mama, like how are you or whatever. And then she was like, not so good. And like, it scared the shit out of the staff people, because at that point, like they have like nothing happening. Like she's just not talking, like she's not doing well. But like at that point, like she like rebounded like slightly, Wow. So when I was at my mom's and I was already off work, she's like, let's go over there and see her. So we got my grandma who lives with my mom, and we went over there, and my grandma is like, I don't like, she was ready to go, but she's like, what if they keep me? And I was like, at the same time, like, I know she's like joking, but at the same time, like, she's small and frail, like the same kind of age as my mama. So I'm like, she's probably really worried about it, but she's like playing it off as a joke. And I'm like, I can't take this shit right now. Like, I can't think about that too.
So I know you think you're being funny, Grandma, but you're really, really not.
Yes. So we three got in the car, and I left my cat at their house, and then we went over to that little rehab place and went in, and my aunt's visibly kind of upset, and like Mama was kind of awake and doing okay for what's had happened to her with falling and stuff. And my grandma sat down by my aunt, and I went to go sit. There was like a wheelchair in the corner, or no, I was standing, and then Mama was like, Sarah, sit down. And like just the fact like that she knew who I was, and like was coherent enough and like to sass me and tell me to sit down, I was like, okay. So I went and sat down, and like later on in the evening, like she brought up something about us as kids, because my mom was a night nurse, and like if my grandma was ever working or out of town or whatever, we would stay with my aunt or Mama, you know, so like even though she's not my grandma, like she helped raise us and watched us, and like she watched other kids after school and stuff, so there's kind of a whole bunch of kids that grew up with her watching them. So the fact that she like brought that up, and like the time, like it's like 25 to 30 years ago, like that she would have watched us, and I don't know like why she brought it up, I don't know, but anyway, so like just seeing like my aunt have to deal with it, and she's like smuggling in food for her. Like they're like, she can't have this and this and this, but I gave her a Kit Kat and I'm spoon feeding her like root beer float and stuff. And I'm just like, good for you, Aunt Becky. Like you fucking give her whatever the fuck she wants, you know?
Yes.
So we stayed with her that night, and then closer to the holidays, we got a message, my twin sister and I, from our cousin, the one who had got married. And sorry, my nose is constantly running because I've been sick lately. It was from our cousin, the one who had got married, and she's like, you know, if possible, could you guys please come stay with Mama? Like, my mom just doesn't want her to be by herself, because my cousin was going to be hosting Hanukkah because she got married and that side of the family's Jewish and everything. I don't know if it was the first time she's hosted it or whatever. I don't know. But we decided to do it regardless of our schedules because we wanted to help in whatever way we could. I was terrified. Like, we were going to like go part a couple hours and then the other one do a couple hours, and we were just like, let's just go together, because like I was literally kind of freaking out, and I think my sister was too, about just we don't know what to do even though there's people there to help you. Like, we were just like, I don't know. So we ended up going over there, and my aunt's brother was there the whole time, and it's annoying because he didn't really seem to want to be there, but whatever. So he stayed with us and all that. But so we got there, and my aunt left, which we wanted her to have a break, because dealing with all that and not having support from other people, like, if we could give her those like 3 to 4, actually I think it was closer to like 6 or 7 hours, to know that Mama was safe and with people who loved her, you know, like, to like ease her mind and like the stress for her, you know. So like we made sure that we were there, you know, even if Mama wasn't fully awake like she was the other time I saw her. Like, not that she was fully awake then either, but just this time it was just, she would just kind of say like if she was hurting a little bit or whatever. It was more like hospice care at that point.
Right.
So just spending that extra time with her and letting our aunt have a break and my cousin be able to like not stress out and them to be more comfortable with the situation, like that meant a lot to me. And like, it's not like that I want credit for being there, but like I needed it too, you know? Because like too, at another point they came in because Mama kept kind of saying like ow and stuff like that, whatever. And we were trying to keep her as comfortable as possible, because again, skin and bones and like the bed and everything, she needed to be propped up. Hip injury. So anyway, they finally came in to renew her meds, and then another 2 ladies came in to kind of do what they needed to do and clean her up and change her and stuff. And her son left the room with, and my niece was there too, which by the way, like to me is really important, because again, like scared of death, like want somebody to like look after me like later on in life. So like the fact that my niece is there, like seeing us like lovingly be there and supportive for family and like take care of them and everything, like that's important to me, that she saw us giving that respect to a family member, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
how old is your niece, by the way?
She's gonna be, I can't think right now, she's gonna be 8 I think this summer.
Yeah, that's a big lesson, and it's tough.
Yeah. So like, I mean, she kind of played and had books and stuff or whatever, and Mama's son kind of entertained her a little bit, but whatever. So they all went in the hallway because those ladies were going to come in to change her, and like, one, like we've talked about, this shit scares me, like freaks me out, but I felt like an obligation to stay in the room while they did it, you know, not like to watch them or make sure that they're not gonna hurt her or whatever, but like out of respect for her and love for her to stay, and also to like honor my mom who's like strong and takes care of people, you know what I mean?
To give her a loving face and comfort in a room full of strangers.
Like, yeah, and like I mean, obviously she had no idea like that I was in there or whatever, but like I just felt like I needed to be in there, even though it was scary for me to see and uncomfortable for me to see. Like I needed it.
Yeah.
Just as like a life experience of knowingly like supporting her in that moment, you know what I mean? Because I want somebody to be there for me however many years down the road if I need help, you know what I mean? So and we spent like that night, like we took turns sitting by her, holding her hand and stuff, and loving on her and everything. And I think that was just kind of a good goodbye for us, you know, because then it was just kind of like looming of how long she was actually going to be okay for. Yeah. And actually, like, the timing of it was terrible because our boss took all of us out to a really, really nice, like, steak place for lunch on the 21st. And we were sitting there waiting, like, and as our, like, entrees were coming out, like, I had picked up my phone, like, it was a few minutes before they brought it, and, like, I had looked at my phone, and I, like, set it down, and, like, it had 2 messages. I forget who, my sister and somebody else, whatever, both saying, obviously, that Mama had passed away, like, and it might have been my cousin, I don't remember. Like, I looked at it and, like, put it down, and, like, my face, like, if you guys know me in person, like, obviously Jules and Jocelyn do, like, my face gives away every emotion I have, like, in person. Like, I am the worst liar ever, because I can't hide it. Like, my face just does not, if I'm upset, it's, like, very apparent.
She might as well have, like, upset in big red block letters across her forehead.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, it was very, like, surreal of, like, looking at it and, like, put it down, and then I was, like, just kind of, like, not making eye contact with anybody. Like, I knew if anybody looked at me, like, that I was gonna lose it. So I'm, like, sitting there, like, they bring our food, and I'm, like, I would, like, try to take a drink, and, like, barely get it in a tiny sip in my mouth, and, like, choke on it, and, like, have to set it down. And then I, like, cut a tiny sliver of a steak and put, like, a tiny little piece of mashed potato on it, like, tried to eat it, like, couldn't eat it. And, like, everybody's, like, one at a time would, like, be like, are you okay? Like, leaning over to me, and I was, like, every time somebody would ask me, like, I would just, like, look a different direction, because I knew, like, if I made, like, direct eye contact with anybody sitting near me, that I was just gonna lose it completely. And then at that point, like, the one lady who kind of, like, looks after me, whatever, because there's a couple who are about, they have kids my age, kind of, finally she kind of looked back at me, like, leaned back past everybody, and she's like, are you okay? And I was like, I just need to know where the bathroom is. And then I ran to the bathroom and, like, just completely lost it and started crying, and then eventually went and sat in the car while everybody finished their really nice Christmas lunches, because I felt bad that, like, I'm not gonna sit in the fancy bathroom and, like, cry the entire time. So my boss's wife took me outside to sit in their car, but it just very, like
I don't know if you saw it or not, but I feel like this is the point where I need to bring up this comment from the chat room. Jayonce said, that's so Nevermore, going through something hard and being upset and yet being worried about bringing people down. And I feel like this is like, it's so you that, like, you're going through one of the hardest points that you've had to go through in your life. And you're just like, I want to make sure everyone else can finish their lunch. Like,
I didn't want to, like, be, like, this huge, but, like, and everybody kind of knew, like, since the wedding, like, that I was worried about how she was going to be doing, you know, because of how frail she was and stuff, but just the timing, like, right when they brought food, like, and I was just like, oh, like, at that point, too, like, once I went to the bathroom and, like, the lady from work came in and she was talking to me and stuff. And then she went to go get my boss's wife and they took me outside. Like, it was just, like he said, like, slow motion, like, people are talking to you and you, like, don't, like, you don't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
And like, my boss is completely oblivious. Like, in the car back, he's like taking phone calls, business phone calls. And, like, he doesn't, his brain doesn't work that way, you know, like the whole compassion side of things. He just doesn't get it. Like, he asked me if I had sent something in one of my orders, and I'm just like, I don't fucking know. Like, if I sent whatever that order was, or if I still owe it, like, I don't know. And, like, the one lady's like, I think you should just leave her alone for a minute. But, we just got back, and, you know, she's like, here's your leftovers, and, you know, are you okay to drive home? And I was just like, I guess so. Like, I mean, I don't really have any other option. I mean, somebody would have driven me, but it was just a really, like, progressive kind of a spiral. And, like, I remember at the beginning of December, like, Jules was like, I don't know if I'm going to put my tree up. And then I'm, like, in this huge, like, I'm going to do mine, and, like, it'll help build your spirits and stuff. Like, my tree didn't go up this year, like, at all. And part of that, too, is, we didn't, because of all this was kind of happening and leading up to all of this, our original plan for Christmas was to go to California with Ben's family, to spend time with his mom and his dad and his sister. And kind of as Mama was getting worse, like, I'm, like, on the fence about both, you know, like, I want to go spend time with his family. We don't see them very much. He sees my family here all the time, but I felt like an obligation to be here. So, like, the entire time I'm, like, on the fence, because, like, if we all go, like, and his sister goes, she usually watches our cats and we usually watch her cats. So if we're both gone, like, nobody can watch the cats. And, like, it's like this whole, like, there's, like, being with his family, my family, the cat thing, like, there was just, like, all this up in the air stuff. And then finally Ben's just like, you're staying here, like, executive decision. And, like, I needed that because I wasn't going to be able to follow through with it. Yeah. So, like, I needed that. But, like, as soon as we decided that, like, my, like, spirit was like, psh, like, it just, like, dissolved. And I, like, and I mean, he didn't, nothing, like, from that decision is, like, his fault or anything. Like, he needed to spend time with his family too, and I needed to be here. But he felt terrible because on Christmas Day, like, I'm supposed to go over to my mom's house across town with my sister and my niece and my grandma and everything. Well, they all got sick. So, like, I ended up just staying and spending Christmas by myself. And, like, it wasn't, like, it sounds sad, but it was kind of by choice because there's a lot of gaming friends here, and I knew, like, I could go to Ted McCall's house and be welcomed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I needed that mental downtime. Yes.
Yeah.
And I spent that time trying to unfuck my habitat and, like, distract myself. And I'm like, Ben's not here. I can make a huge mess and put stuff away. And I made, like, a huge mess pulling everything out of the closet. And it looked worse than it did before. And then he came home and I was just like, well, I tried. I'm like, this is what I was going for. I moved a whole bunch of furniture in the closet and it looks worse. Merry Christmas. So, yeah. So
well played.
I mean, just that whole, and, like, I knew Jules was hurting, and, like, at the same time, Jocelyn's celebrating, and, like, Jocelyn, do not feel bad about people wanting to celebrate you, because we do, regardless of what's happening.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, it was just a lot all at once, you know, and it's just, especially because of what I was dealing with, I'm struggling with it already, and then having it be a close family, like, not even just maybe somebody I kind of knew, like, it's just a close family person who means a lot to me, and it was hard to, like, see it, but in a way, even though I know it's kind of, like, fucking with me a little bit of, like, dealing with it, like, I know that I needed it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, is this your first, like, very close family member that you've lost?
in a long time. Like, I remember we went to, like, a funeral for, like, my great grandma and stuff like that as kids and whatever. But, like, again, like, past few years, like, death really in my face, where then I was like, hey, there's a room with couches and sodas. We can just go in there and drink as much bottled soda as we want, you know? Like, I didn't
understand the
sad,
gravity.
but
yeah.
Yes. Like, it didn't resonate. And, like, I mean, we've gone to other funerals and stuff through the years, like, you know, a classmate or whatever, things like that. Like, my old boss passed away, like, stuff like that. But it was the first very close person since I've struggled with having death, like, constantly on the forefront of my mind. Like, and for people who are here or listening who haven't listened to past episodes, like, to the point where, like, I'll watch a movie with a little old couple and they'll be like, oh, and I'll be like, oh, and oh, they're gonna die soon. Like that flip, like, quick, like that. And it's just a lot lately, and it freaks me out. And I've talked to Jules about it. She's like, you need to read, like, a book or something. And, like, I think it scares Ben. But at the same time, like, I don't know. We advocate, like, getting somebody to talk to and stuff. And, like, I feel like they're not going to give me any more information than I already know of. Like, I don't want smoke blown up my ass about it.
Well, you never know, though. Like, you never know until you try when it comes to actually talking to someone. And I feel like, I mean, I feel like probably the perfect example of this because I felt very similar to you, I think, when my grandfather passed away. And that was 6 or 7 years ago now. And I was grieving and angry to the point of, like, literal PTSD and just, like, crazy intense bouts of depression over it because I had never lost anybody in my adult life that I was close to. My grandfather was the first, and he was the first I lost 4 people in 6 months. I lost my grandfather, I lost my godfather / uncle, I lost my great aunt and a cousin, all in 6 months. And I'd never lost anybody in my adult life. Like, the last person I'd lost, I'd been like 9. So I just, I didn't go and talk to anyone, and I very much regret it because between talking to someone and drugs, I feel like I would have gotten over it a lot quicker. And instead, I had a couple of very bad years when I made a lot of bad choices because I was just rebelling against death, if that even makes any sense.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely, totally. Yeah. Because, you know, we fear what we don't understand. And, you know, Nevermore, I have to give you tremendous credit for what you said earlier about how you stayed in the room with her, facing, even though it was uncomfortable, because I think that is something that, you know, like, you called it out to yourself and you said, this is something that I have a hard time dealing with this, but I want someone to be there for me in my time of need. And so I'm going to do this, even though it's uncomfortable. And that takes a tremendous amount of courage and bravery to do. You know, but I think there's, you know, I'm not an expert at all on any of this, but when it comes to grieving, is like, you know, and the fear of anything is that if you don't understand it, it's even more scary.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's why I have, like, it's not a negative perspective of, well, I guess it is kind of negative, whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but, like, I guess the fact that, like, I don't think I would believe what they're saying to me. Like, I don't want, like, kid gloves of, like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't want, like, positive, like, hours of them just, like, saying stuff like that, because everybody dies. Like, there's no getting around it. Like, like, no, I don't know exactly what it is that I feel towards it. It's just, like, in a way, to me, it's kind of a waste of time, because I understand. It's not like I'm not believing, you know what I mean, that everybody's going to die and whatever. Like, and I'm obviously kind of self-realizing that it's an issue, and I'm dealing with it to the best ability I have, because there's no way of changing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think part of the whole, like, getting meds on it too, like, pisses me off because like I don't want to get on some sort of medication for it and not be able to continue that medication after I start it. So like that's another whole story of like shit hitting the fan in this country. Like I just don't want to deal with that idea right now. But I don't know. I feel like a therapy person is just going to tell me stuff I already know, that like I need to find ways to cope with it and whatever, because like I have that weird like almost idolization of death, like, and that's something I came to the realization of too in the last couple of years, is all the things I've loved my whole life have this whole life after death to them. Nightmare Before Christmas, The Addams Family, Sylvanas, like everything that I love that's weird and creepy like that, they have like life after death type, you know, it goes on. And like, I don't think that internally I realized all that. I think I just liked it. It was creepy and weird. But like now looking back, I'm like, it was kind of like
there's
an epiphany
a definite
of like,
theme.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So,
and you know, you've made tremendous strides even just now. You know, you were not equipped to talk about this for weeks, you know, almost months.
Yeah.
and then it just bled. Sorry, everybody who's like new to watching.
but you know what? I guarantee you're going to start thinking about this after you're done with this show, and it's going to start processing a little bit as you now have spoken the words out loud, which is exactly the same thing that I went through as well. And I'm going to echo Jocelyn. I think that, you know, and don't go into thinking about therapy as someone's just going to give me drugs, because you can go to a social worker or a therapist who doesn't deal with drugs at all.
Yeah.
It's just they're specifically focused on having the conversations with you, because basically a good therapist just gets you talking about what's in your head.
Yeah.
Well, and reshapes
that's kind of what I get it, you know, and I get that that's what they do and whatever, and it's just like, I feel like it's just like going to be like running in circles of like, it all just ties back into that everybody dies. Like, like I don't know what new information they're going to tell me about it.
Well,
I think that's why I have such a negative look at it, I guess. And it's not that I hate it or anything, like, please, like, audience people, like, don't take it that way. It's just personally, like, in my head, it just feels like it would just be like a runaround. You know what I mean? Like, we would just be chasing the whole, here's what the main point of your thing is, and we're just gonna go around and then come back to it, and then go around and come back to it. Like, I don't know why.
I think Kilmernock in the chat room has a really good point too, saying talking to a counselor isn't about getting happy platitudes or medication. Medication is a temporary measure to help deal with something overwhelming, which I know I felt absolutely overwhelmed by grief.
Yeah.
And so the medication helps kind of calm those anxieties. And then therapy is an ongoing process that helps you figure out better ways to cope, because like we aren't born with coping mechanisms. Like we don't, there's so many things that we don't know, we don't understand. And so many things that therapists literally study and learn. They're doctors of your brain. So like, you know, you may think that you would go to therapy and talk around in circles because that's literally all you've been doing since it happened, is you've been talking yourself in circles. And as much as like, I mean, obviously we love to be here for you and we love to listen to you. And it's great for you to sit and talk and have some personal reflection and everything else that you've had throughout the night. This is awesome. And I think it's very good for you. But you've been talking yourself in circles for over a month now. And a therapist will be able to potentially get you out of that circle. And say, okay, but what about this? Or have you thought about this? Or, you know, here's ways to deal with the thoughts of this, you know, and the filling in those blanks are not things that Jules and I can do, because like we say at the top of every show, we are not therapists. But there are plenty of people out there who are, and who are specially trained to help you deal with grief. And I wish that I had gone to a therapist when I was going through all of my stuff. There's like 2 times in my life that I wish that I'd actually gone to get therapy, because I feel like it would have gotten me through the abusive relationship and then all of the death. Had I talked to somebody, I wouldn't have been fucked up for years. I would have been a lot happier and a lot healthier, a lot faster. Because you're right. Those conversations, like I am one of those people that plans conversations. I have a funny story I told Matt. I'll tell you guys now. I have conversations in my head all the time with people. Like I don't necessarily like plan my conversations, I guess, but like I start things that I want to talk about and I run them through over and over and over in my head, over and over and over. That's just going through my head constantly with all different things about all different people and all different conversations. So I literally told Matt when there was literally right after we got engaged, I said to him, I was like, I have to tell you something. And he was like, what? I'm like, I had been running through the conversation of breaking up with you like for the last like month. I was like, I haven't been excited about Christmas because you had told me originally, like over a year ago, that like 2017 was like the year. And like, because I had told him how I was feeling and how I was like, I just like I wanted someone to want me enough to spend their life with them. I wanted someone to pick me. That's what I wanted. And he was like, don't worry, like it's coming without spoilers, sort of a thing. And he's like, this year, it's this year. And it was like literally the 25th of December. And I was like, there's one fucking week left in this fucking year. So I was like, I've been planning our breakup conversation for like a month. And he's like, you're a little wacko. I'm like, yeah.
He didn't even realize it.
He didn't even know.
He's in a totally different headspace about it.
He's sitting there being all happy and excited and like, oh, she's gonna love this. Oh, I can't wait for Christmas. And I'm like, I fucking hate Christmas. This could be the worst Christmas ever. This is gonna be the worst year. I don't even know what I'm doing. How do I even? We bought a house. I don't even know how to undo that. Like,
oh
yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Man. Oh,
so talking about
man.
talking yourself in circles, I am the queen of talking yourself in circles.
We
true.
love you, Matt. We love you.
Yes.
And
Nevermore,
my point is
visual for you.
Oh,
Go
yes.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh.
You have a visual for me. I am the one who always has visuals for you guys.
Yes. No, I have a visual about therapy that may help you a little bit because it's something that helped me when I was going through it. Because I kind of had the same things as you did, those reservations like, okay, well, I already know what I know. And I don't know how anybody else is going to tell me what I don't know. Right. And the way that I saw it is that the person, once I got through the discussion about my divorce, it was like, I knew what was inside a picture frame. That's me. That's my face and my story and my life inside the picture frame. But the therapist put a frame around it and helped me close it in to understand how it fit inside everything else, how I got to that point. What is it that got me to be inside that frame in the beginning? And that was huge because like I understood me, I understood the frame, I understood the picture, but I didn't understand how it got into the frame until she made the frame for me. And so if that helps you at all in terms of like helping you understand, like, yes, you have this absurd obsession with death that gets you like upset for reasons that make you so uncomfortable, and yet you love it.
Yeah.
And like, how did you get there? You know?
That's
and
a good point.
So I just want you to think of it maybe in a different perspective, because like, you know where you are in terms of like, you recognize you, but you don't know how you got there.
True.
And so there's,
well, and like, I look
out
around and I'm like, why is no one else freaking out that like they're gonna die and everyone they love is gonna die? Like, why is it just me? Even though I know that there's like a ton of people who struggle with it, but I just feel like I don't know.
And I didn't mean to use the word absurd. I apologize. I didn't mean it that way. It was like, I want you to feel like, you're not alone, because you're not alone. Like, there's other people that have the same things that you do. And there are professionals out there that understand why it's that way.
Yeah.
I am not one. Joce is not one, but,
like another part of it too is like seeing, like, already struggling with it, seeing her, and then seeing my aunt out of the 5 kids be the only one, like, helping her. Like, it makes me thankful that I have my sister and Ben and my new brother-in-law. You know what I mean? Because you never know how somebody's going to behave when shit like this happens. And they prove that they'll be there no matter what, which like comforts me like a little bit. You know what I mean? Especially after seeing all this, because now, like, even after she's passed away, because of the timing, like, the celebration's gonna be later. And based on all of those people's schedules, and I think the only one who's out of town is the one who was in the room with us, whatever, spending time with her. Based on their schedules is the day that got chosen, which is my Grammy, who lives with my mom. It's her birthday. So on her birthday, when she's like worried they're going to keep her in the freaking home, we're going to celebrate our Nana who passed away. So like now I'm like worried about her. You know what I mean? So it's like just seeing them and how they're handling it, even after she's been gone, you know what I mean? And like dealing with the aftermath of all of that. Like, their family still isn't on the same page, you know what I mean? So, like, seeing all that makes me really respect and love and cherish, like, the family that I do have, no matter how small it is, because I know that we'll all be there for each other, like, no matter what happens and when.
Yeah. Yeah. Girl, you've been through a lot this last few weeks.
We've all been through a lot. Good and bad.
I know.
Up
That's
and down.
why we were all just like, fucking, let's distract ourselves tonight and just spend time together and play a fucking game. That's why we had so many game nights, you guys.
Yeah. And they were needed. They were needed. And yeah, but there's, you know, we've had ups, we've had downs, and, you know, that's going to be life. That's going to be life for all three of us. If we've helped you tonight with some of the stuff that we've experienced and shared, then we've done something good. So,
and I can't say it enough, but like, find your people who you can split to in private, because if you didn't have that, like, I would be losing my mind. Like, if I didn't have you guys and Ben, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think I would be way worse. Like, I mean, I'm sad and, like, grieving, and, like, that's normal, and I have to remind myself that that's normal. But if I didn't have that support from you guys and from him and, like, my sister and my mom and everybody, like, it would be way harder than it is. So I love you guys. And Jules, I love you, and I'm really sorry about Spike, because I know you struggled with that, too.
You're gonna make me cry again.
Sorry. I love you guys a lot, and I know I'm being really mushy about it, but it's true, and I'm glad that you're my friends.
Oh,
I love you guys.
We told you guys on episode 1 that we were going to talk about some shit, okay?
I know. So there's a show for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's probably a good place to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for sharing your stories. Thank you guys in the chat room for hanging out with us. If you would like to send in any of your stories, give us an update on you. We haven't heard from you guys in a while. You can either join our Discord, which is discord.gg/JocePlays. There are 2 different Slaying Demons channels. There's a PG channel and an 18A channel. So you can go have some fun in there. Not too much fun. Everyone can see that.
Every once in a while it takes a really weird turn, and I'm just like, wow.
So you can join the conversation in real time over on Discord, or you can send us an email if you'd like to remain anonymous to demonspodcast@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for listening. Jules, where can folks find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at JulesRPG, and I have a new website for my chainmail stuff, which is chainofjules.com.
Yay!
And I'm streaming again, so you can catch me most of the time on the weekends now at twitch.tv/JulesRPG. I've been making a lot of stuff for a lot of people lately, so thank you guys so much for all your commissions. I'm having a blast with it.
Awesome. And Nevermore, where can folks find you?
I'm very proud of you for doing that, because I've felt very out of sorts lately. Like, I did really good in November, and then all the shit hit the fan, and like, I know Jules was even off of it for a little while too. I don't know how Jocelyn can do all her stuff all the time. But I don't even know. Where am I on Twitter? I'm at Quota Nevermore on Twitter. And on Twitch, which I have not streamed since probably before Thanksgiving. Or no, after Thanksgiving.
Understandable.
Yeah, Christmas.
Have not streamed, have not crafted, have not done anything. Hoping to change that. I bought a brand new camera thing that I think will solve my problems of lighting and focusing. So I'm very excited to do that. When I do, it will be at twitch.tv/geekasylum. So soon, hopefully. But yeah, I'm sure that's probably driving him crazy because he likes technical stuff and I haven't even set it up yet. So
you can find me on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at Joce Plays. I didn't mention, but I did have more news. I got a new job. So
Yes.
I totally forgot to mention that in the updates. I'm not going to go into it too much now, but basically I'm now a promoter for Stream Elements. So if any of you out there are aspiring streamers or streamers already and you'd like more information about Stream Elements, please do come and hit me up. It's basically an all-in-one service. They do all the donation stuff, the overlay stuff, the like super cool in channel currency stuff with stores, and there's so many really cool features. So if you're interested in Stream Elements at all, just hit me up. You can hit me up on Discord or Twitter or whatever works for you. That's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, and we will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
bye.